Pleasant good evening to each and everyone in Georgetown, Guyana, the diaspora, and elsewhere, and to the world at large. I would like you to subscribe to my channel and press the bell so you will get the updated video when I release it. Today, there are so many things to talk about in the entire universe. In some nations, it's flood. People are suffering. Some is war. Some is many other things. But when it is a political affair that causes a nation to be running from their country to other to take exile or to become a slave in other country, we got a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes we ask who is right and who is wrong. And we will never get the answer, because if it is not a religious conflict, it's a racial tension. And it is time for the world to speak with one voice. Whether you are a Muslim, a Hindu, or a Christian, or whatever is your belief, that is your personal affair. But you are the one who will meet your God or your Maker. And I don't think no one must force you into believing in what they feel is right, because you can't do it to them. And we know for many of years, these things happen. Excuse me. It so happens that many hundred years ago, we heard about all kinds of things. Historians write 10% truth, 90% fiction, and the whole world gone upside down. We heard about Nebuchadnezzar, the Caesar, the Pharaoh, and many others. The Alexander, and I would never stop it, the Oliver Cromwell, and the queens and the kings in the past. We heard every day in the Western Hemisphere, even now in some parts of Africa, about slavery. The white man slave, the black race. But ladies and gentlemen, everybody was a slave sometime or the others, even until today. People are still slaves. Today we are economical slaves. Some can barely survive to pay rent and buy food and take care of their children and pay medical bills. But regardless of whatever, we keep looking back but making no correction for the future or forward. We keep using words, not analyzing that it can be our downfall for the future. And therefore, and I will deal first with the black brothers and sisters who are dealing with the historical event, the white man slavery. Friends, they were slaves too. I would like you African descendants out of Africa, in the Caribbean, Brazil, and America, and elsewhere, find out who was the most, and how many years they ruled Spain, and even spread all into England according to the information is alleged. Find out the name of what you call modern country called Africa, the continent. That was not the name. Google it up. It was the Greek and the Romans changed the name to Africa. It is the garden of the place of civilization, which means the world in one. I've been saying it and people say I was mad. But if you Google it, you will see it from an African historian individual, a male. The true name of the country. It is very hard for me to pronounce because it was strange to me. But if you Google it and ask Google, what was the name of the continent of Africa before the European civilization entered the shore? The Greek, the Italian, the British, and others, colonial masters. And you will realize that the whole world was misled. China still have their real name. India still got their real name. And the whole Latin and South America still have the Americas or whatever. But again, one must ask, was North America, South America, Central America, was that the name? Or was it another name? Or was it concerning the man by the name of America Vespucci? Could it be him that we are celebrating? Like we have Columbus Day? Think of it. And when we are talking, we have a problem now with neighboring country in Guyana and Venezuela. Maduro is claiming 60% of Guyana going back into the past. Even the British and other colonial masters with Spain and others have settled the boundaries between it. But is Maduro right? Or is Guyana fighting for a country? And I want to know who's Guyana. Is it the black people is Guyana, Guyanese, or the East Indian when one is claiming day of arrival and emancipation? Tell me, did any one of you ever heard a European white man, as you say? I don't believe in calling color to people because I've never seen a white man in my life. I've never seen a black man in my life. But we use words to get our anger and frustration out. And that is totally out of context. It is wrong. It's like a man tell you the truth and you say he's mad. He's stupid. He's ignorant. Does that mean that the man is really all those things that you give to him? Of course not. But that's the way you see it. But you have to think, ladies and gentlemen, how life take a shape. Look what is happening in the world of Lord. You know, look what is happening. We are suffering because of historians. We are suffering unto this day. And we are using words that we have no respect for. The white man, as you call them, the European was slave. The days of old England, France, even Spain. Spain are European too, the Greek, the Italian, the Norwegian, as the Vikings. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the 21st century. This young generation must not feel the guilt. The white man of today did not slave any black race or Indian race. Those was the old days. But it all began with all of us living out of India and Africa and China inherit what the ancestors went through. And instead of we try to do better, we do worse. We breed our sisters and say, child mother. And they call us child father. Come on, man. Come on. The Europeans teach you their language. Whether French, Dutch, Belgiumese, Norwegian, Swedish, or British. They teach you their language in order for you to understand one another. And of course, if you have never seen a lighter skinned person with blonde hair and blue eye, you will attack. And they will attack. It's like picking up a wild animal. Don't believe that he's going to allow you to pat him, allow you to come too close, because he's afraid of you. That's why he attacks. And you go to attack back. And then things happen. And then they start to work on the younger generation. They give you school, they give you church, they give you running water, or whatever they pull up from the well. Ladies and gentlemen, why modern generation have to answer the call 400 years ago? It's plain and simple. If winter is hitting the United States and Canada, some fishes in the ocean or the sea migrate into a warmer area. Some birds do the same. And if today Africa is liberated and free as the continent, and India, why the great-grandchildren do not gather together and go back respectfully to those countries and see if we will be accepted? As far as I'm concerned, you have to look deeper. Who was the Arab? Who was buying and selling slaves? Biblical story. But no one denied God his rights. No one challenged God, the creator, the father of the universe, the creator of all of us, to allow slavery. Think of it. We heard about throwing the people all into the den of lions. And the lion refused to eat some of the prophets. We heard about the last messenger, Prophet Muhammad. I says, a few years, 100 years ago, you mean to say God allowed back one and sell another? Yes, he did. But we are killing them. Look at all those black power movements who are speaking out about slavery. Look what they drive, what they wear. And look at the bank, if I could show you the bank book. Like this overnight preacher who said Jesus talked to them. God talked to them. And the imam and the pandits talk about holy water. All the water was holy because God make it, not man. Friends, today we have to understand life. There is no such thing as white man, black man, yellow man, green man, purple man, or rainbow. We are man and they are woman because God make the human race. But I can give you something a little more technical. God did not make woman. Read your Bible. Read your Quran. I don't know about the Ramayana because the Ramayana make the Hindus unto today. They are not mature enough to understand that God make us all and Hinduism is not greater than all. And India, as the Prime Minister of India once said in a campaign, India is for Hindus. That's why they were divided. And you have Pakistan and Afghanistan and all this and until now the world can't understand. But I'm not going to get into that. Today in Georgetown, Guyana, something that dreadfully happens in the past in the 60s, when an Indian laborer, son, by the name of Cherry Barajagan, came to the United States to study and become a dentist. He was in love with another woman, another Caucasian, which you may say white woman. They moved her out of the way because he was politically motivated. And Jeanette stepped into the show. But whatever happens, it had to be because things happen. We have no control of nature. We have no control of destiny. And if that was the will of the Creator, nobody can stop it. Even Lyndon Sampson Forrest Burnham's wife was Eric Williams' cousin or sister, according to information. It's a lad before he take Abi Vahola. Friends, and I'm asking a question. I was looking at the news and I see in Manhattan raising of the flag for Guyana independence. I didn't pay much attention to know if it's this year, if they're talking about in Times Square. But I see the woman was singing the Guyana national anthem. I would say a red woman, but I'll say a Guyanese, but it's a mixed person. I didn't hear it in Hindi. I didn't hear it in Arabic. I hear it in English language. And yes, I don't see why people are complaining in Guyana that things are so expensive. When your national anthem begins with the phrase, "Dear land of Guyana," which means dare to live in Guyana. Right? And you can turn it around and say, "That's my dear," which means a woman. But friends, to make a long story short, it's all about who you listen to and how smart you are to define the English language. Because all of you have been misled. The black race was misled by Burnham. The Indian race was misled by Chetty Jagan. And I have no apology to that. See, why you going to charge me Burnham got to be there and Jagan got to be there? Okay? You see Guyana is still alive, Sidney King. I think he should issue a statement about that. The killing of the late Walter Rodney was both of them kill him, whether you like it or not. Again, if you are going to try me, both persons have to be there. And I want to ask questions. Today you have Mr. Ali, the president of the Cooperated Republic of Guyana. And he spoke about one Guyana. But I do not see the parliament is straight with the Amerindian, the mixed race, the Portuguese, the Chinese. All I see is Indian and blacks take over the whole parliament with one or two persons from a different race, but you have to support them. Why? Why? Why I have to be a PPP or a PNC or now APNU, APNU after PNC? Why? And they all got it in Guyana. PPP is a Coolie party, which is an Indian party. And PNC is a black party. That's how you all illiterate bastards got it. It's alphabetical thing, sir. Let it be known to you. During the Burnham administration, many Indians and Amerindian and other race suffer. under the black race. But there was a lot of decent, honorable black people who stand up for dignity, and they themselves was prosecuted in many ways. Many leave for England, Canada, America, and elsewhere. While the hooligans were the ones tearing down people posters, beating and fighting for political parties. The Speaker of the House today, Mr. Mansour, had an experience by the Botanic Garden when he was campaigning in the 90s when they take away his ring and beat him. And who do it? Black people. With a friend of mine, brother from the West Coast, Katrina RCI and Olin was the driver of the vehicle, according to information is alleged. Now you telling me, you hitting me because I don't believe in your policy or your party. Do you think I would love you because you beating me? I will hate the blood that your mothers lose for bringing you into this world. And I will revenge you. Today, I heard so many things what the East Indian government is doing. The teachers call a strike, and it's alleged that the Indian teachers maybe was given money and asked not to take part in it, and they don't come out in demonstration. But then the opposition, Mr. Norton, it's alleged, says demonstration or protest does not mean anything. Can somebody tell him it was an 80-day strike bring down the Jagan government during the time of the British? Friends, if y'all go continue about emancipation being the black race, Africa is only from Guyana, 6.5 hours if you go through by the South America and to the Falkland. Depends which part. And if you're an Indian and continue by the day of arrival, and I think your visa gonna expire, you will have to go back home. Because you are identifying you are not Guyanese. The Irish live in America. They and the black, there was signboard put up all over in the days. It's alleged. Niggers and Irish and dogs are not allowed. According to information, it's alleged. But I hear only black people talking about race. I don't hear the Irish. Chinese was also here. They built the subway. According to information, it's alleged. They build them through a tunnel and close it and kill a lot of them. But I don't hear them talk about it. I'm not saying these things didn't happen, but they do not talk about it. They try to go beyond that and not to make it happen again. But I warn you, in Guyana, I got many bloods in me, and I'm going to explain to you. You beat me, you accuse me, you lock me up, you think I must leave you to God? So help me God, I'm going to send you to meet him. And if it's not you, your family. And nothing wrong with that. Moses wronged the Pharaoh. Muhammad went to war. So if I am wrong, those two prophets are guilty of genocide. Muhammad and Moses. So my friend, let's get down logically to this. We must learn to respect one another. When you elect a man or a woman to be a minister in your country, in government, shaking your hand, taking picture with you, hugging up your little baby, and when you put them, they got some high heel shoes so high, no bird they put in so long. And if it's a man, he dressed in a three-piece suit, the place could be 300-degree hot, and he's still sweating, but he wanted to look presented. My friends, when will we wake up? You elect these people to do what you want them to do for the interest of the nation, not themselves, friends, and family. And if the law is to lock up Jones, Partab, Gangadin, and Smith, and Thomas, it should be there for the ministers and the president of the country, or the king. So when you make a constitution, they make constitution to protect themselves. But lock up little black boy Aubrey and Sankar who pickpocket, or indecent language, but you could rape. And if you have good class with the corrupt ministers, then there's no proof. You could be accused for theft and be locked up, especially Diamond Grove and Providence Police Station and Brickdam. Let me warn all of you, no crime shall sweep in the rug. you might be 99 years. And even if you die, you have your children. What Jesus said. The children shall answer the call. If the Amerindians support Maduro, America can't save you. Or if they support Brazil, America can't save you. Those are the people of the land. As you said it, you rightfully said it, India belongs to Indians. Africa belongs to African descendants, who's the blacks. So what is right for you but wrong for the Amerindian? I ask God Almighty to be the right judge and rack Guyana with a disease and get rid of the devils. And every crime that you all committed, both of you, let your generation suffer for it. I'm telling you all this. My hands are clean. Look at it. But my God, it's only time. There are decent, honorable black people, man and woman in Guyana, but they're scared to talk. Got the hooligans ready to beat, burn, and call them Uncle Tom. They're decent Indian man and woman, the same thing. Why the two of you are fighting for a country what is not yours for top of one Guyana? You Indians should be lucky that the year joined with Burnham. Make plenty of you are in America, Canada, because Jacob was branded as a communist. And many of you uneducated bastards didn't know the meaning of it. The symbol of the PPP is the cup. The symbol of the PNC is the broom. Friends, one is to sweep you in the corner, and the cup run over with corruption and destruction. When will you all get sense to change it? Whether it be Ali, Barrett, Jagdio, Norton, or anyone, time will come, they will dead and gone, and they will be forgotten. But you and your children will suffer because they make you all beggars in a country where they were beggars, and you make them king, queen, and princess. And salute to them. You Indian, you love to fight for what is not yours. You're no different from those Jews that they occupy in Israel, bulldozing people's house, shooting at them. And what happened on the 7th of October, the war cry foul. I sympathize with all who lost their life, but do not light fire if you don't want to get burned, man. Do not kill other people if you don't want yours to be killed. I heard government people in America said there was no genocide. Maybe they're right. It's not genocide, it's murder. They ain't got no other name better than that. And why are they killing the journalists them who are exposing them? Why are they killing the UN workers who build their mass grave? Because now we're showing. Ladies and gentlemen, there's good and bad amongst every nation. Every race, as you said, the human race. It's time for we to unite and make this world a better place for the next generation. We have seen many wars and hear rumors of wars. But if you are living in the Caribbean, being an East Indian descendant or an African descendant, and you're going to continue with this emancipation but not emancipation, you will have to leave the country and go back home. And let those in the country where you go, 10 must take your place for every one of you. Same go to the Indian. Many of you say black people was in Guyana before the native Indian. Well, friends, lion and tigers, elephant and giraffe was in Guyana before it was in Africa or India. How illiterate can you bastard be? Wake the hell up! Certain animals was only created for certain environment. Certain fish can only go certain depths of the ocean. You have sweetwater fish will not mix with salt water. Think. So when you open up your stupid mouth to make a statement, don't look like a fool because you're not on the world stage anymore. But for you, the good Guyanese who live in England, America, Canada, regardless of whatever it is, let's unite. The only solution to bring Guyana together is a national front government. A government for the people, by the people, for all the people. And it must be headed by the sons and daughters of Guyana, an Amerindian descendant, not an African descendant or an Indian descendant. or a Chinese or Portuguese? Come on. If not the Amerindian, then it must be a mixed race. I am not your judge, but all judges and magistrates, police and prosecutor, ministers in government, whether you be opposition or ruling party, during your time in parliament to legislate law and to defend the people, you close your eye and play deaf. Refuse to talk. You are guilty of any crime towards any man, woman, or child that was wrongfully accused and in prison. And maybe if they've been executed or been killed in prison with an excuse, they hang themselves. Whatever judge and magistrate sentence an innocent man to prison, if he's 30 years of age, his 30 of a family must answer the call. If he's 60, 60 family or his family must answer the call. Same goes to the ministers in government. If you all believe in the teaching of Allah, Ali, Muhammad, then I am talking in your direction. Come on, Barry Jagdeo. If I am talking the thing between Krishna and Ram that went to the Mahabharata war, then I'm talking in your dimension for justice. And you English who talk about Jesus and Moses, then I am in your direction. Because Moses drunk the Pharaohs. And when he went to get the commandment like a constitution for the illiterate bastards, he crossed over the Red Sea. They were partying, doing a lot of things. And he said, if you cannot live by the law, you must die with it. And he threw some commandment in their face. Y'all call upon Allah, Bhagwan and God, but y'all are not looking at the right thing. Is Barnum alive? Is Jagan alive? No. My argument is, how many Indians lose their life in the 60s thanks to the Highlanders that was brought there by John F. Kennedy. But America was protecting its backyard from communism. Cuba wouldn't have been here, and I keep repeating it if it was on the mainland. Nicaragua tried, Chile, look what happened. But you people in Guyana, wake up to civilization. Stop listening to corrupt politicians. Why we must only have a two-party system in that country? Don't tell me about America. This is what happens when you put your trust in the hands of human beings like yourself. It's hard to take it away because they pay your uncle and your brother to kill you when you talk. Like those killers they got. But I want you to learn from the Shah, Saddam, Gaddafi, Ho Chi Minh, Hitler, and many, many, many more. And learn from this what just happened in the court that calling for the arrest of Netanyahu of Israel and the cabinet ministers and maybe some soldiers. I hope you all understand. With this, I want you all to know, y'all are not ashamed. Why a minister in government have to give you a house lot? Is his own? Why the NDC cannot do it and do not take side? They don't belong to Indian and black people. In the army put out close to 1 million Indians out of Uganda. Burma drive every one of them out. And right in the India border, Miramar, what they call it, they have problem with the Indian again. Indian is being seen all over the world to be like roach and louse, but the good ones stand up. Prime Minister of England, Sunu, whatever he named, when he becomes the Prime Minister, India was in the pool, in Liverpool celebrating. What an achievement. There's nothing to celebrate, friends. There's nothing to celebrate. The white man have suffered as you call him the white man. The black man has suffered as you call them the black man. The Chinese have suffered as we call them the Chinese. And the East Indian have suffered as we call them the Indians. And if we want to be fair, and you're going to tell me, like a friend of mine tell me when I talk, look what they're doing to the Amerindian in Guyana. This was his reply, which I didn't expect it. What America do to the Indians? Well, because they rob and kill the people and take the country, we have a right to do to the others in another part of the world? No, I cannot believe in that. Friends, We cannot justify a crime like that. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're right, you're right. Then what Netanyahu is doing, why we blame Hitler? And we can't blame Netanyahu. Why we blame other people? But we can't blame the Russian leader for Ukraine. Think of it. Why we blame Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi? Or Hugo Chavez in the past and sanction him, but we cannot sanction country that committing human rights violation towards our own fellow brothers and sisters, regardless of our culture and our language and nationality. Tell me, it is time for we to close the book and carry a new chapter. These politicians are not for you. They are for themselves, friends, and family, and their killers. No judges and magistrates and police should take side and must be allowed to practice the law of their job without any interference from corrupt politicians and corrupt businessmen because of money. And every police officer and every judge and magistrate and prosecutor must be given a proper salary. Not only the ministers in government. We have seen Glenn Lal exposing a lot of things about the oil spill and all kind of thing in case. And how he said it, if y'all can't understand it today, something wrong with y'all. Fellow Guyanese, the two major races, East Indian descendant and African descendant. Stop the fighting among your neighbors. Stop being fooled and stop it. Unite for a better Guyana. A national front. We tried the black race, is chaos. We tried the Indian, is ass kissers. Corruption. No, I'm not saying you don't have good one among them. Please, listen carefully. Every Guyanese family must be given land to build a house and money to build it. No Guyanese should be allowed to pay rent. And I want to make this clear. The Indians who living in New York, and got to say Queens, they should have pulled up the flag there instead of going to Times Square. Because there's little Guyana. Times Square is for America. Friends, you could try to hide it by clunging yourself around. But one thing you cannot do, fool the United States of America or the European nation. I want to say my solidarity goes out to the people in Israel who are losing their life, and to the people of Palestine, Ukraine, and anywhere there's a war right now, or famine. It is time for we to speak as human beings and unite and bridge this world with love and affection and hope for the benefit of humanity, not the benefit of ourselves and pockets. Come on. And I keep telling y'all, and I'm going to repeat it. Election begins with the episode of Jesus the Christ versus Barabbas. When Jesus was accused for a crime because of corrupt businessmen and preachers like what we have in Guyana and around the world, when he exposed them for the wrong they were doing, then they become mad, jealous, and they want to know all things, and they're questioning about his kingdom when he talk about God and the kingdom and the kingdom to come. They try to get rid of him. And by the way, money ruled from the beginning to ending. And Judas betrayed him. And if you follow the animal appetite, you go see Judas was an Indian. And if you follow the man who helped Jesus lift the cross, was a black man named Simon. Why I'm telling you all this? Black people have more feelings than Indian when coming to help, give a helping hand. And they are quick to forgive and unite for the benefit. But if you piss them off, they will destroy everything with no regrets. But you Indian, from Indian to Pakistan, from Bangladesh to Trinidad, Guyana, Suriname, St. Lucia, wherever, Jamaica, wherever you are love trouble. Y'all love to humiliate each other. Y'all love to boast and brag, insult one another. Y'all look down upon the poor like if they are not human beings. Y'all insult them. I don't see that in the black race. And I grew up amongst black people. The illiterate one who grew up between the Indians will react in such a manner. And maybe if you check his DNA, he may got Indian blood in him. Think. But there's good and bad amongst all human beings. Why the Chinese don't speak about slavery? But you have a nice slogan. See no evil, hear none, speak none. Now, if he says see no evil, what do he mean? See no evil means don't see the black man or the Indian or the white because they're evil. Or don't listen to them, as he said, don't see none and don't hear none or whatever. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the new frontier. A younger generation, much more intelligent. Today, 63% of the world population could read some language and write it. The rest still stuck in the past. And 10% of the world historian only give you 10% of what they know is factual from biblical time to now, but mixed with a lot of allegation and things they cannot prove. If I condemn the black race, I will not associate or use anything but the black people create. But if I condemn them and I'm living in the clothes, I'm living in everything they do, then I'm a parasite. Which means stop criticizing, because no Indian or blacks came from Africa and India with a three-piece suit and a black shoes and brown shoes, collar and tie. None. Or beating a drum and playing a guitar, blowing a saxophone, driving a car. Give up these things and let's go back to primitive time. The white man, as you say, the European, they suffer too. The Indians suffer too. The Chinese suffer too. And yes, the descendants of the continent that name Africa today, they also suffer and still suffering today like India. My friends, don't let politicians lie to you. And these corrupt pandit, magi, and priests who Jesus and God talk to, come on. I'm not saying you don't have a good pandit and an imam or a good priest out there. There's good and bad amongst everything. But you must identify. Another thing, I've been saying it all the time. When you go to the church to offer your prayer to your God, they give you more envelope than a postman could bring to your house. Because they talk about your tithe. People been paying tithes and tithes. When they going to stop paying tithes and untie themselves? Tell me. Those money, yes, is to help the church, but to help the poor too. But instead of that, the priest and his wife go to Israel or India, the Ganges River, where there is an imam, where there is a pandit, and they go to Israel, or they're going to Saudi Arabia. And I want to make this clear. No river is better than the other when it was created by God Almighty. No country is better than the other. They have different climate, different things of life, but none is better than the other. Everyone balance the equator. As a human being, what part of your body is better than the other? Is your right foot better than your left foot? You can't walk on one, friend. Is your right hand better than your left hand? No, sir, you cannot hold and shake. I want you to know it is time for we to unite and stop this nonsense. If the government of Guyana is doing good, it is the duty of the nation to unite and work together. But every Guyanese must have land to build house and money to help them. And every crime that was committed against an innocent man, woman, or child must be resurfaced, and a case must be reopened to try the people who commit the crime. And for those who fighting people for land, don't belong to you. The past all shall be reopened with the right government, and you will not like the consequences. So for people who are buying land in Guyana property, before you buy, find out from the village if there was a dispute between the neighbors or the brothers or the sisters. Find out before you waste your money, because you will be aiding and abetting in a crime that you will be helping to commit to seal the faith. But if you believe in the teaching of God, then we all have to be tried one day. But I am telling you, think I hate you. No, I don't hate you. I cannot live alone. No man is an island. I cannot live alone. You don't see a lonely man mind birds, rabbits, dogs, monkeys, cows, sheep, because you can't associate with humans like themselves. Imagine some dogs are living better than people in Guyana. They got air-conditioned house. They got drivers driving them out. When will you all wake up to understand that we must work together for a better Guyana and to stand up for humanity and open up the door to India, Africa, the Caribbean, and elsewhere, and help the less fortunate and let them come and inhabit the land and protect their family and worship their God. For God is God. No man owns this land. And thank you for listening. I am your host, George Correa. No offense, nothing personal. Thank you.